I'm a gay pastor. Ask me anything. Let's check it out on today's Wisdom Wednesday. Let's check it out.
If you were alone in a room with a gay pastor, what would you ask?
Do you view yourself?
That would be the one thing. That would be the one thing I asked. What I just said. Like how is a Christian going to tell me to believe in God and everything, and that they believe in God, but yet they hate their neighbor because their neighbor's gay? But in the Bible it says love thy neighbor. That would be like the one thing. Another thing about the Bible, at least, is like even if God and Jesus are real, they didn't write that. It was written by so many different people. They could have said whatever. Yeah, that's another thing. That's another argument I've brought up before, but that argument is kind of like touchy because then it's like, you're not going after what people believe. You're like going after like God directly and saying like God didn't write this. You know what I'm saying? But that is true. Like the Bible has been revised and rewritten so many times over the years, and God himself really wasn't the one who wrote the Bible for real. I mean, like he was, but like, I don't know. I'm not gonna like really speak on it because I'm not fully knowledge on the Bible, but like still, like so many people have like rewritten and revised the Bible. It's just like, what can you believe anymore? And how are you going? And one thing that Dante taught me is when there's so many religions out there, so many different things that people believe, how are you going to tell me what you believe is right and everything that everybody else is believing is wrong? How are you going to tell me that? How are you going to tell me what I believe is wrong just because it's different from what you believe? You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, I just mean like you didn't write that book. It's a book of stories from those times. Exactly. It's a book from the stories. Exactly. It's just, I don't know. But like I said, everybody believes what they want to believe, and
As an openly gay pastor as a political statement?
What are your thoughts on conversion therapy?
Does it really say in the Bible that being gay is a sin?
So the first thing is we have to look at is that.
Hi, I'm Haridas, and I have some questions for you today.
Awesome, nice to meet you, Haridas. My name is Pastor Kurt.
My first question is, what is your religion?
I am a progressive Pentecostal, which would be a Christian.
What inspired you to become a pastor?
It's a funny story. I really didn't desire to be a pastor. I wanted to be a police officer. And so I always joke when I'm preaching that I got the P's mixed up. There was a church looking for a youth leader. So I took the youth leader job, developed a passion and a love for it.
Is being gay ever an issue for you? Does that affect you being a pastor in any way?
I could see how it can, because some people might not even want to come to his church because he's a gay pastor. Because for one, he's gay, and for two, it says in the Bible that being gay is a sin. But yet he's a gay pastor, so like I could see how it could affect.
Since it does, I get uninvited to stuff, and I'm the black sheep of some spaces. Something happened that was really funny. One of my friends invited me to come and preach at his church. Some of the members from that congregation wanted to hear me again, so they came to my church. I wanted to thank God for my boyfriend being there, and I saw every person that came from that congregation. They got up and exited stage right.
Oh, wow.
I get a lot of hate.
That's wild, man. How can you just man, I don't know. Like I said, you believe what you want to believe and everything, but
that I'm going to hell. And
that's just too much of a conversation to have, because then you're talking about religion and you're talking about sexuality, which are two very big topics. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm not even going to discuss that, but you saw him, he preached at an event and you liked what he was preaching, and you came to his church to hear him preach again, and you find out that he's gay and you leave. What changed? The fact that he's gay? What?
doctrine. In the beginning of my ministry, that hurt me. On the flip side, when a young person comes to you and they're thinking about committing suicide, then who's going to hold them up and tell them, you know what, you don't have to give up and you don't have to allow people to dictate your path. You have the power to dictate your own path.
I definitely resonate with that a lot.
Have you ever had to hide yourself to the people of your church?
I don't think that I hid my sexuality or hid who I am, but I did use a lot of discretion so that I wouldn't offend people. It took me until 26 to actually authentically be myself.
That's another thing. You should never have to hide who, not necessarily hide, but like, let's say, you know, I'm going to an event, and let's say I'm gay and I'm going to an event with my boyfriend. We're going there together, but we're not going to act like we're together because I don't want everyone knowing I'm gay. So I'm not necessarily hiding it, but like I'm being discreet about it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you should never have to hide who you are or what makes you happy just because other people are going to say something about it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, never hide who you are just because you don't want other people saying something.
I went through this journey of dating girls and dating guys. I would go out with my girlfriend because I wanted everybody in the church to love me and to like me. And then I would go home and cuddle with my boyfriend after. It wasn't until like I had an aha moment. I just said basically to hell with people. And I understand that God created me and he built me to be the person that I am. And nobody can be Kurt but Kurt.
I mean, I'm also gay.
Yay!
Yay! And it definitely took me a bit longer than I would have liked to have figured it out.
How did the acceptance in the church of queer people affect you and your own like mental like state?
I don't think my sexuality was exposed yet, but I will tell you that I use hand gestures, and the bishop called me into his office and he was like, all those hand gestures and stuff like that you're doing, men don't do that. It triggered me to where
men don't move. You know how many times I'm on stream and I'm going like this or like this, like, what? Men don't move. What? Men can't do shit. Holy Jesus Christ. Men can't do anything. What the fuck? Exactly. Like, what does that have to do? Men don't move. What does that have to do with anything? Exactly. What does that even mean? Men don't move their... So if a man is deaf and he has to use sign language and everything, is he not a man then? What do you want him to do? He can't. You want him to carry a notepad with him and a pen and write everything down? Like, what does that mean? I saw a tweet where a girl called a guy gay because he had glasses. LOL. He was like, bro, like, exactly, like, I don't even know, bro. I seen one thing and I seen one thing on TikTok, and it was some girl, I think it was like a podcast, and there was some girl on the podcast, or like girls were calling into the podcast, and they were like naming their ex, and she said one of her ex was one time she was out with a guy, and he had something in the oven, I guess, and he took it out of the oven with an oven mitt, and she said that was an ick for her. And they asked her, like, are you being serious? And she was like, yes, that was an ick. And I'm just like, what? How does that, like, do you want him to burn his hand? Like, men can't do anything without it being an ick, without it being gay, with just like, we can't do shit. Like, what the fuck? We can't do anything. Jesus Christ.
If I move my hands, I'll catch myself, put my hands together and say, no, don't move your hands.
I remember I had a similar experience, not so much hand movements, but the way I walked. Like, I remember it was like 3 of the like older guys were like, you know, you walk like a girl, why is your butt out like that? And I didn't think I was walking like so flamboyantly, but that moment stuck with me like up until now. I still think about it.
I think that in the world that we live in today, that we can actually be more gender fluid. And if you like it, you like it. Make it work. So that's how the world needs to be. Make it work.
Yeah.
How did your family handle your sexuality and your religious together?
My family is very understanding. In all actuality, my parents are members of my church. I don't really have a coming out story because I really never came out. I just became more authentically myself. But I will say I had an initial conversation with my parents. My mom said that she already knew. It took my dad 2 years. He would use terms like them and those people. Now he understands that at the end of the day that it's all about love.
Have you ever
W parent. At least he understood. At least he understood that, this is still my son, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm still going to love my son whether he likes men or women. So W dad, because some parents really don't understand. Some parents will love you to death until you find out you like the same sex, and then it's hit the door. I don't love you anymore. You feel what I'm saying? So
Taking
W
an Am I
dad.
Gay quiz?
No, I've never done that.
I've taken them.
Okay.
That's why I asked.
What was your results?
Bisexual, baby.
All right.
Do you view yourself as an openly gay pastor as a political statement?
No. Me being a pastor just means that I'm passionate about people and that God has called me and given me a unique identifier to be able to love and to appreciate and to speak life into people.
Does it really say in the Bible that being gay is a sin?
Biblical text doesn't introduce the word homosexuality until the 1900s. And so then you have to go back and you have to look at the original manuscript, which frames it from a different perspective. So it talks about giving the natural affection of a man to a woman or a woman to a man. Well, what is your natural affection? Is your natural affection to a man or is your natural affection to a woman? We are divinely everything that God wants us to be.
I think that's awesome. I've never heard that part
No,
of it
yeah,
before.
What are your thoughts
That was a good answer. I've never heard that either. That was a good answer. I like that.
on conversion therapy?
I think that's the stupidest thing that somebody could ever do, and I hope that whoever does that, I hope that they find a guiding light. People can't be converted from who they
I was
authentically.
gonna say, is like conversion therapy like where you like if I was gay, they would send me to therapy to like not make me gay. Like how can therapy like stop me from being like my authentic self, like my real self? How can you stop something from being real? You know what I'm saying? Like if it's actually real and I'm actually gay, then how is therapy going to stop me from being gay? You know what I'm saying?
They are.
Like
There's something that was called Exodus. They would learn the Bible and they would stay there and pray and think that that would change their situation. But they found out that they were sneaking in each other's rooms like late at night, so it didn't work.
Do you believe that you will go to hell?
Oh heck, Eva, Jackie, no. I'm not going to hell. I think that God is very heart intended, and so he looks at our heart. I don't think in him there's neither male nor female.
I definitely think that God looks at your soul and not at who you choose to love.
yeah, I also think that because it's just like, man, I don't know, man, because like I said, my mom told me that like if you don't believe in God, you won't be successful. But like I feel like God knows who you are, and like even though he's a gay pastor, and even though other Christians might look at him and say, you might be a pastor, you might worship God, but you're still gay, you're going to hell. But like at the same time, God knows who he is as a person. God knows his soul. So just because he's gay, he's going to hell. Even though he's a good person and God knows that, just a simple fact that he's gay, he's going to hell. Like that doesn't add up to me. And if that is the case, then that shouldn't be the one reason he goes to hell. Because like he's genuinely seems like a good person with a good heart and soul. So like just because he's gay, he goes to hell.
How did it make you feel when more conservative pastors spread hate about the LGBTQ community and even like spread like threats?
It hurts my feelings that people operate in hate, especially when we serve a God that loves. John 3.
That's another thing. A lot of Christians are built on hate, and they like preach like hate. You know what I'm saying? But like, why are you preaching about hate when you're talking about someone who does nothing but love? You know what I'm saying? Like,
says, for God so loved the world. When people teach hate instead of love, it makes me, one, question their ability to really hear from God or to speak for God.
Was there ever a time that you resented the church?
Yes, I had a situation where I was fired and I resented the church for a very long time. My therapist was able to help me understand how to feel better about myself.
So how does one take
That sucks. Wait, did he mention? Did he mention why?
I had a situation where I was fired and I resented the church for a very long time. My therapist was able to help me understand how to feel better about myself.
So how
I'm gonna assume he got fired because he was gay, and if that's the case, then that's just wrong. That's just
does
plain out
one
wrong.
take religion and come to terms with themselves? Like, this is that love you're talking about. How do we find our own truth?
The first misconception is that people want to be religious. God's desire is to be relational with us. If we go back to Genesis and we look in the garden with Adam and Eve, God was building relationship with them. He wasn't building religion with them.
Do you ever get any
Yeah,
judgment?
I like that. Let's run that one back because I like that. Because I like that. We'll talk.
Religion and come to terms with themselves. Like, this is that love you're talking about. How do we find our own truth?
The first misconception is that people want to be religious. God's desire is to be relational with us. If we go back to Genesis and we look in the garden with Adam and Eve, God was building relationship with them. He wasn't building religion with them.
Do you ever get any?
See, with God, it wasn't with God. It wasn't, it wasn't like a leader thing. It wasn't like I'm the leader and like you all follow me and do what I say. It was more like I am God and I have these abilities to help you all and for you all to live better lives. So I'm going to use my abilities to help you. I don't want you to just follow me and be like, he's our leader now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here to help you and build relationships with you. I'm not here for you guys to look at me as like, as like a leader, like as like a king type shit, whatever I say goes, that was never it. It was always, I have the ability to help make your life better and lead you onto the right path and all of that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build that relationship so I can help do that. You know what I'm saying? It was never, what I say goes, you all follow me type shit. You feel what I'm saying? At least that's what I feel, at least. I don't know.
Judgment from queer people about you being so religious?
So many gay people have been hurt or damaged by the church. It does take people a minute to realize that religion is not what we do. Relationship is what we build.
What advice would you give?
See, it's about building a relationship. It's not about blindly like following God and doing whatever he says and what he says go. It's not about fearing God and believing in him because he's believing in him because you're scared to go to hell. Like, it's about like building a relationship and connecting with him and using his abilities that he wants to use to like help us,
To a gay person who is fearful of going to church.
You can Google and find churches that are inclusive and accepting. And then after you do that, you have to find a church that meets your specific needs. I think one of the downfalls with going to just any church is that some churches are tolerant, but they're not celebratory. A church that tolerates people is a church where you won't see anybody that looks like you in the leadership. I started my church 12 years ago because I wanted to make sure that there was a place where people could feel comfortable and safe. My church is not just a gay church. So you have straight people, you have gay people, you have upside down people. We're like Dr. Seuss. It's a table full of everybody.
So would you say your church is like more of the like eccentric, loud, or is it more like quiet side?
My church is loud. Jump, scream, holler, enjoy yourself while you're there.
Love those
Renewed. Which
black
is,
churches. You can say it. You can say it. Those black churches. We're one of those black churches. Because the white folk don't be getting down like that. You can say it. Well, yes,
you
yes,
can
one of the black
experience
churches.
renewal in whatever process or way that you need to experience it. We have this time in the service where we do meet and greet, and a girl came up to me at the end of the service and said that she hadn't been hugged by anyone in 2 years.
Just knowing that,
That's
like,
sad. That's sad. She hasn't been hugged by anyone in 2. Aww. That's sad. Damn. I know, right? Damn. I was gonna make a joke, but it's kind of sad. If you actually think about it. No one's hugged you in 2 years? Damn. I mean, I don't know the last time someone's hugged me, but like, damn.
And like you as like an openly queer pastor is just out there in the world, and just like a young little gay boy is able to look at you and be like, wow, it's very special to me, and I want to thank you personally.
Oh, thank you. So you say I'm out here and I'm out here to stay. Yes.
Love to.
I knew it was you. You are a fireball. I knew you were short.
Smash or pass? Jesus.
Oh, I'm gonna pass on Jesus. Well, I don't even want to think about it like that.
My bad. My bad.
Shorty said smash or pass. Jesus. It's crazy. I'm glad we got to watch that video. That opened... It made me think about things differently, especially the one